All right, Chelsea. So last video, we got to know me a little bit more. And then in this video, we're going to get to know you a little bit more. And the way that...
Like I'm going to cheat.
Yeah, I don't want you looking at these questions ahead of time. So
Okay.
The way that Chelsea and I do things are very different. Chelsea's very loose and organic, and I'm very listy with colors and organization. So the format for today's video is going to be 2 kind of fun, soft questions and then 1 deep question. And the soft ones are in pink and the
Is this your way of
orange.
saying you didn't like the way I did it last time?
No, I really liked it. But this is just my way. Okay, so we're going to get right into it. We're going to get into knowing Chelsea. So I have 16 questions for you. There might also be a couple of bonus questions at the end because some questions are still rolling in on our Instagram story. So you ready for question number 1?
As ready as I'll ever be.
All right, this is a hard one. What is your favorite color?
Are you serious right now? These are the questions?
I'm getting you warmed up.
That's an impossible question. I hate this question.
What's your favorite color?
I honestly don't know. Blue, maybe? I always said blue.
Okay.
But I like purple. I used to hate pink, but now I love pink.
See, now we're getting the juices
Black
flowing.
is my go-to every time. And then people say, that's not a kitty.
Yeah.
So it's not my favorite question.
Okay. Number 2, what is your favorite season?
Summer.
That was easy.
That was really easy.
That was really easy for you.
Like spring, summer. Summer, spring.
Yeah? Why?
Yeah. I see fall and I get angry.
'Cause
I
that
just
means-
have an emotion that builds up inside of me that just wants to like move south.
Is it because winter's coming?
Yes.
Okay. Number 3. When did you first realize your passion for dance?
Like out of the womb.
I think your mom would argue that it was in the womb.
Oh, okay.
That you were tap dancing on her bladder.
I was dancing when I was little, when I was really little, but my parents couldn't afford it for very long, so I wasn't in it for very long.
When you say
But I remember loving it. I don't remember anything from it. The only thing I remember from dance class when I was little was the butterfly stretch where your knees go up and down.
Mm-hmm.
Because my teacher, whoever she was, she was like, now lean down, smell your feet, smell those nasty feet. So I just always remembered that. And I remember the recitals that I think there were 1 or 2 recitals that I did, or maybe it was just one recital, several dances. I can't remember. But I wasn't in it very long, maybe a year.
How old were you?
Like 5 or 6. I don't know, probably like 5.
And was it like jazz or ballet?
I think it was, well, my mom didn't like jazz.
Okay.
I wasn't allowed to be in jazz.
Too jazzy.
So it was ballet and tap, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Some jazz I think I was in, but I was like, that was not her favorite. But I wasn't in it long enough to really learn anything.
But it got you exposed to dancing.
I always liked dancing. I always
Okay.
liked dance. Yeah.
All right, question 4. Now, this seems like an easy question, but I think it might not be. Your favorite genre of music?
Soundtracks.
Soundtracks, like from movies
Scores,
and stuff?
movie scores.
Yeah? And why is that?
I don't know. I've always loved them.
Does it take you back to the movie?
Yes, but it like becomes mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then was there any cassette tapes that you wore out in your youth?
Are you asking this question because I told you that?
Yes.
Yeah, Mom had, she had Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. That one I didn't, it was a cassette, so it was like wearing out easily. But the Braveheart cassette, I would wear, like it was like, whoa. But I knew what the original one sounded like, so I just could hear it in my head.
So even though it was warbling.
So even though there were warbles, it was okay.
So just for those of you not in the know, if you're a little bit younger and you're watching this,
What's that cassette?
Chelsea and I come
You're
from
too young. Get out of here. I'm kidding.
We come from an era where there was these things called cassette tapes, where they were little rectangular things.
I like that you're explaining
This
this.
was before CDs, and if you played them enough times, the actual, I guess, film inside of
Would
there,
stretch.
yeah. So the music would get distorted on it, so they didn't last very long.
But yeah, my family was always big on music. My sister and I think my brother typically, like, they know all of the words to everything. For me, I didn't really listen. It was not the words for me. It's never the words for me. It's always the feeling of the instruments.
Is that why you like
It's
soundtracks
just,
more?
there's for me personally, I think that a score is more moving than yakety yak. Don't tell me how I'm feeling. I want to just feel it through the music.
I knew that you were going to say yakety yak. Okay, you ready for question number 5?
Sure.
Okay, it doesn't have to be many, or it can be many, but movies that you think everyone should watch.
Braveheart.
Wow, that was fast.
Braveheart. Lord of the Rings. I mean, please, come on. If you've not seen Lord of the Rings, there's something wrong with you. I'm sorry. There just is. What's the name of that one? Count of Monte Cristo. You have to watch that.
Everyone should.
Everyone should.
It should be
the new one, not the original. The one with
Jim Caviezel.
Jim Caviezel in it.
Mm-hmm.
Was there a limit?
No.
Oh.
Like
What was the question again?
movies you think everyone should watch. So you have Braveheart.
There's so many. Gladiator. Anything that Hans Zimmer does the score for, you gotta watch it. Just watch it.
That would include Kung Fu Panda.
That would include definitely Kung Fu Panda.
Any other? So you have Gladiator,
Braveheart. Gladiator, Lord of the Rings,
Count
Count of Monte Cristo. I love Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. That's such a good movie. And it starts off with the really, like, the music in the beginning. Not necessarily, well, it's a good score too. The Patriot.
I hope you're beginning to sense a theme here of very deeply moral movies that have, you know.
Batman with Christian Bale.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of those.
Any others?
Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah, for sure.
What else? I love movies. I love movies. So
Chelsea is a movie buff, and I've also gathered that from being around her family
good movies,
too.
though. You can't be coming at me with all of these, like, noisy movies that have no reason or rhythm whatsoever.
There has to be some thought.
Like Aquaman, worst piece of crap. Sorry.
Yeah, don't waste your time.
No. First and second. I was really hopeful for the second. Nope, just as bad, if not worse.
No love in our home for Aquaman.
No, sorry. I wanted to like it, but I did not.
All right, so this could potentially have 2 origin stories. The beginning of your villain arc. No, I'm just kidding. How did you get into dance?
Like ballroom? Because there's like two coinciding, like...
I think there was an event that happened right before you got into ballroom dancing that's super important to your story.
Pablo?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what is that?
Pablo is a Mediterranean guitarist. And he goes around and he's super famous in Canada. And then when we met him, he was starting to come into America. But my mom basically did a friend of ours was visiting us, and she wanted us to have something fun to do, and my mom loves music, and so she got us tickets to go to his concert, and it was an outdoor concert. So it was at a venue, and then everybody was like sitting outside, which was really cool. And then he did an intermission, and Mom wanted to buy his CDs and get him to sign it. So we went up to him, and Pablo was like, we didn't know this at the time, but Pablo was like this really super cool, down-to-earth guy, like super talented, but like really easy to talk with. And my mom was like, my daughter is dancing to all of your music. She wants to move to everything. And then he was like, oh, well, in the next segment, I'm going to have somebody come up, so have her come up and dance with me. And she was like, okay. And I didn't know this until she came over and sat down. And she was like, you're going to go up there and you're going to dance. You're going to go out there and you're going to dance for Pablo.
You got to love moms, right?
I was like, no dance experience. You know what my dance experience was at that time? Back when I was 5, I stretched sometimes. And then I became a fan of Shakira. Her song Hips Don't Lie came out. And I learned all of the choreography to that music video, all of it. I could probably still remember it to this day. And then I think the movie Step Up had come out during that time, like around that same time. And I loved that movie too. So all of the experience is self-taught in the living room of a homeschooler. And I was like, what am I gonna go up there and do up on the stage? And she was like, just dance like Shakira. Just dance like Shakira when you go out there. I was like, oh yeah, okay, just dance like Shakira. I don't think she knew what she was asking me to go up there and do. She may have regretted it later, we'll have to ask. And so he played the music, and then I think my mom's like, oh, whatever she's doing. Then Pablo sees me, he's like, come on, come up here. So then I went up there and I started belly dancing.
How old were you?
16.
16, and your mom
Belly
invited
dancing.
you to dance publicly in front of a bunch of strangers with no dance experience. Right?
That was my first time up on stage dancing.
And you got the bug.
Oh, I was like, this is where it's at, right here.
Because what did he follow up with after you danced and after the concert was over?
I don't know what you remember.
I think you were telling me that he was saying that they would have another show in a different part of Ohio.
Yeah, he said, because that was in Dayton, and I think like the following weekend he was going to be in Lancaster or somewhere, I can't remember, somewhere in Columbus. And he was like, he's like, oh my gosh, he's like, do you train this? And I was like, ew. He's like, you're really good at it. He's like, well, I'm going to be in Lancaster. Do you want to come and see me there? And I'll have you get up and dance again. And we were like, oh. So we went and did it. We were like groupies. And from that point, Pablo, we got connection with him because I think we went out to dinner or something like that and got his information. And then he was the first one after you and I, he was the first one to actually hire me and pay me as a professional dancer to do a performance.
Yeah.
So he was kind of the first one to kind of like give me a platform.
So after that, did you get in any dance classes after that experience?
I don't think so.
No?
What do you mean?
Did you do any belly dance?
Oh, I tried. I didn't like her. I tried.
It wasn't the teacher for Chelsea.
I think that my problem is like I like to learn and I like discipline, but I don't like to be bullcrapped. And I think when I said I was learning, and I think I was trying to do something, I can't remember what exactly it was. I think it was a costume. I think I asked her where I could get a costume. I was like, where do you typically get your costumes for performances and stuff like that? And she's like, why? And I said, well, because I have someone who's hiring me to do belly dancing. And she's like, who? Who is it? What's their name? What's their number? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, hey, whoa there, Missy. I know what you're doing. So she wasn't really giving me anything. She really just wanted my job. She wanted my work is what she wanted. So I just got out of there.
So it started from the word go.
It started from the word go with me. People did not want me dancing. I don't know why.
Well, they wanted what you had.
They want, yeah. Kind of creepy, weird. Go get your life, your own life, you life stealer.
Okay, now this isn't a side note. This is kind of piggybacking off of the previous question, but we talked about your experience getting, Pablo having you up on stage, and then what is it that got you into ballroom dance?
Because Pablo wasn't every month, every weekend. That was like a one-time thing, and I didn't even know that something was gonna come out of that. I wanted to get into I knew I loved dancing. I think at this time I was 18. So it's 2 years later after Pablo. And I was online, like looking up adult ballet classes because I knew I loved the look of ballet. And there was nothing. There was nothing for, like, I would call and they were like so weird and awkward over the phone. They're like, we don't have anything for you. You're too old.
Yeah.
You're old.
You're 18. You're geriatric.
So I found a ballroom dance studio. And I think I called and I got Debbie on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
But I called and I was just kind of like, I didn't know how I was gonna feel about partner dancing. I only did solo dancing. I never danced with somebody else. They might get in the way. So I was not looking forward to it, but I was like, it's my only ticket to dancing, so I was willing to try it. I was desperate. And so then Dad drove me out. I think Dad drove me out there. I don't know why Dad went with me. He drove me out there and we were talking to the receptionist and she's telling us all about the intro lesson. Like, this is what's gonna happen. You don't really know what's gonna happen, blah, 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 the spiel. And I was like, oh, okay, all right. So I had like something to think about. Well, Dad surprised me and bought me like 4 lessons, like the beginner package or something, 4 lessons to start out with. I was like really shocked that because it wasn't cheap.
Yeah, so at that time it would have been a sacrifice to get that for you. But he knew that you wanted it, and that's
I don't
why
know why he did it.
I think that's why he wanted to go out, because he knew you loved it, and he knew that, he could get you started in it.
My dad didn't do he didn't do surprises like that. So I was like totally shocked that he did that. I was so excited. Is that the end of that?
Well, that's what got you started in ballroom dance.
That's what got me started in ballroom dance. I was desperate. I wanted something to do with dancing, and Dad surprised me with my first couple of lessons.
So I want to do a little bit more background on that. We're going to move on with the questions. The reason I'm going to put a pause on it there is because we're actually going to do, I guess, like the full fleshed out origin story of like how we got started together.
Oh, that's a different video.
Yeah, because that one's involved, and I want to be able to
much.
draw all the connections.
We could
to
do
that.
all kinds of videos on all of this.
Right. So that's how you got into dance. So now we're going to go ahead and move into your next fun question. Number 7. What is your favorite land-based animal? Or animal on land?
Whoa! What? Okay, wait. Okay, so now just completely off topic.
Yeah. What is your favorite land-based animal?
I don't know.
You don't know?
A tiger,
A tiger?
a lion, a big cat of some sort. Any big cat, really. Have you seen the snow leopards?
I've noticed with Chelsea, if it can potentially kill her very easily, she's
I want to
somehow
snuggle with it.
attracted to this thing.
I want it to be mine.
Yeah, so she likes big
If dragons were real, I'd have one.
already. All right, next soft question. Any hobbies besides dance?
I don't know if I have any. The gym? Is that a hobby?
Yeah, that can be a hobby.
I like the gym. I like moving my body. I just like moving my body.
You're also
I like drawing, like doing like small little like cards for people.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like basic stuff. I can't do, and it has to be like, I can't do like structure. Structure is not my friend in anything, really.
Organic.
It
flow,
has
like-
to just happen.
Chelsea's like a vine. She just grows in different directions.
Yeah.
But some people don't know, but actually before we actually started dating, I was looking at her Facebook page.
He was stalking.
I was stalking.
Facebook, it was MySpace. And he was
MySpace.
stalking me. I didn't even know who you were, and you were looking at my pictures and stuff. Like a creep.
She had put some drawings up there, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love to draw too. And then she had put some photos of you with your guitar up there, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm starting to learn guitar too. And I don't know if you had anything with your flute on there, but
I don't think so. Let's go.
just a photo of you fluting
Me
it
like,
up, laying down some
I'm so hot right now with this
some
flute.
flute tracks. So Chelsea she's creative, and if it's like music or dance or movement related, she's gonna be doing it. And I'm pretty much convinced that she can do anything. Like if she can see it, she's like that Marvel character that can like mimic it. Isn't that the name? Mimic?
I have no idea. I have no idea what you're talking about right now.
Or it's like Game Master or something, where like if he fights you for a little bit, he can analyze your moves.
Oh, was
and
that
then-
like, wait, wasn't that in,
It was in Black Widow.
I was going to say Black Widow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the longer you fight that character,
The more
dangerous they become, which is basically Chelsea with any discipline.
totally
The longer she
So
sees it.
dangerous.
Yeah, basically. Okay, next hard question. What would be a dream collaboration for you?
What do you think?
Well, I can't answer it. These are your questions.
Do you have an idea what my dream collaboration would be?
Yeah, you keep tagging him in all of our recent posts.
What would be my dream? I mean, if it's not big enough for people to realize or know exactly what the dream is,
What?
what would it be, babe?
So Hans Zimmer does...
I'd die. I would die if I saw him live. Hans Zimmer.
Saw him live?
I think I'd pass out.
No,
I would die if I saw him live. I would be like, God, you can just take me home if I got to perform on stage with him live
that's what I'm saying.
for one of his concerts.
One of three things will happen, okay? Either we would go and see the live performance and she would pass out. Then she would head towards the stage and I'd have to like try and stop her along with security. And then, or we would actually get hired to perform to one of his pieces from something we've previously done.
Can you? No, I don't care what it is.
Yeah, it could be
He
anything.
was like, I don't care what it is. Uguay ascends, okay? Honor him.
Oh, you don't have anything specific in mind, I see. Uguay ascends.
A way of life, okay? Just any of them, I'll dance to all of it.
These are specific song titles from different, scores that she enjoys. So that would be your dream collaboration.
Yes,
Getting to perform with Hans Zimmer live.
yes. I think I'd die.
And then you would be okay with dying.
Yeah, no, I could just leave Earth. I'm all done now.
This is it.
There's nothing after that. I mean, what else would happen after that? You wouldn't be able to top it.
Right.
You would not be able to. No, I'm not joking.
No, you grew up with him in your childhood.
No, I
in the
learned
form of
his music on my flute
You were laying
by
down
ear.
flute tracks.
Because when you have like DVDs, I don't know if you young people know what DVDs are. You'd have DVDs and then like you always have like the home screen.
Mm-hmm.
Or go back to the home screen at the end of the movie, and then it would just keep
looping.
repeating. Yeah, it was Gladiator for me, and it was that song, and I learned it on my flute.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I like that.
just listening to it over and over again.
So there was a good function for the looping of the home.
Yeah, because then I could just keep hearing it and finding the notes.
Right, without having to like play again. I like
Again, no structure.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't like it. Freedom! I need my freedom!
that. It's all organic. What would be 3 tips for creating a competition or a show number?
For pro or pro-am?
I would say broadly speaking, like if you were talking to a pro or a pro-am, what would be, and it doesn't have to be 3 tips, but what would be like the main focuses of creating a showpiece?
From scratch?
Yes.
Good music.
Okay, so that's number 1.
Number 1, you have got to get good music. You've got to be thoughtful.
Why do you have to have good music?
Because, it's twofold. You have to hear it over and over and over and over again, so you better like it. And typically, like when you're dancers are artists, so when you're trying to create something that a piece of art that people are going to connect with, you want to be smart about the music that you're selecting. Because sometimes like the music will be like, oh, it just touches my heart, it just that's fine. Sometimes those songs, unless it's cut or spliced or you mix it with something else, it's not a good performance piece of music.
So you're saying music-wise, you start with your passion and what it is that you prefer, but then in tandem, you are also thinking about how it's going to be received from the people watching.
Well, you don't want to no, I think that you just want to select a piece of music that is passionate. You are passionate about, you like it because you're going to have to hear it over and over again, but you also want something that will. What are you trying to get people to feel when you select this music? What is it that you're trying to portray?
So I think that's kind of like number 2 in a way. Like number 1 is you were talking about good music, but what is it you're trying to get people to feel? Could that be number 2?
Yeah, that could be, yeah. It just depends on sometimes your theme, what you're trying to convey comes first and then the music comes after. But sometimes your music comes first and then you can come up with depending on what the song is, what the feel of it is for the audience.
And what would be your last tip for creating that showpiece?
I would say go into creating a piece of art to move people, not to impress people. It's hard because I think that there are a lot of people out there that they dance because they want people's attention. And so that's why they're in it. And so they will never understand the art aspect of it, which is fine. You know, you're going to have all kinds of types out there. But I would say as an artist, as a true artist who appreciates the art of choreography, movement, showpieces, inspiration, I like to look at it. I like to go into every single piece that I do with intention. It's not to go out there to show off what I can do. I want to move someone. I want someone to feel something. It's deeper though. People aren't like that anymore.
I like that.
People aren't like that these days.
That's a good answer. It's a very good answer. All right, this might be hard for you. What is your favorite beverage on earth?
Coffee.
And why is that?
It's so delicious. Why is that? Why would it not be?
When did you first start enjoying coffee?
About the same time I had my first dance class.
So 5 years old.
When my parents had me, like, someone watched me and my sister. I think Taylor was there. Poor Taylor. I was so mean to her. I was like, shut up, you. So I don't know if she was there or not. I was so self-absorbed. But we were over at this couple's house, and we were sitting at the dining room table. I had to have been like 5, I think. And I was so used to, you know what the problem, I blame my grandfather because he had me since I can remember. But I was with Papa a lot. Mm-hmm. I think it's his fault because I went to this couple's house and they were like, what would you like to drink? And I was like, I'd like some coffee. It was like 8 o'clock at night or something. And they're like, you're too young to be drinking coffee. And I was like, no, I have coffee. I get coffee. And they were like, no, we're not making you coffee. And I was like, I did not understand why they weren't understanding what I was saying. I said I wanted coffee. So where's the coffee? But I think that my grandfather was giving me coffee. Mm-hmm. My parents probably didn't know about it.
Would he give you little sips of his coffee?
Probably.
Or just like, would he give you your own little cup?
Oh, I had my own little cup.
Oh, that's cute.
It had Snoopy on it.
Okay, a lot of things are starting to make sense now. Because remember how Chelsea was talking about drawing like cards for people? She'll put Snoopy on a lot of the Christmas cards, so that's making sense.
He had another cup that had like a tiger on it too. A white tiger.
Nice.
Yeah.
What would be your idea of a dream vacation?
An island with no one on it.
Okay.
Does that count?
Is this like a tropical island?
Tropical for sure, yeah,
Okay.
no. Somewhere warm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
warm, tropical, very few people. Well, you said no one on it.
Very few. No, nobody, okay? Yeah, I would say any kind of beach house. Mm-hmm. Like a place, like this is, I like it to be like secluded.
Okay.
I say beach house because I would prefer that over a hotel. Can we do a hotel? Sure. But we are in hotels all the time. All the time. Mm-hmm. At resorts and stuff like that for work. And so that's probably why I don't like it, is because it reminds me of work. And not that I don't like my work, but it's my work. So I'd like to get away from that for a little while. Mm-hmm. So I would say beach house, where we can all just go and spend time with the people that we love and don't get to see often.
Right.
Or like a cabin in the woods.
That would be cool. I'd dig that too. So
Secluded.
Yes,
away
isolation.
Complete isolation. Can't get to the phone or anything because there's no signal. Oh no, no signal. No. What will I do?
So, knowing what you know now, what would you go back and tell yourself, like, at the beginning of your dance career?
What would I tell myself?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Keep going because it works. Despite all of the hateful people in your life.
Keep going.
Keep going.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Any other bits of advice to your 10-year-ago self?
10 years?
Or I picked 10 years because it's a nice round number.
What was happening 10 years ago? 2014?
Oh.
When we were like hardcore top competitors. I don't know if I would have told myself anything then because we were very motivated, lean, mean, competing machines. I loved that time frame. But even then, we weren't sure.
Go ahead.
I have an old lady here snoring it up. If it's not slurping its water or barking.
It's snoring.
Snoring. Here, that's it. Little cameo.
Little Kokio.
Kokio. Kokino. Look how stiff you are. Bend those knees. Oh. You're so cute, Coco. You're annoying, but you're cute. I think maybe I would have told myself to not care about what other people were thinking about our routines. I think that would have been my biggest advice to it, because I think that's what derailed us at one point. Not for very long, but I remember it being a huge problem. We were going through a lot of depression stuff for ourselves, and we were doing everything. We were doing everything that we were told to do by the industry. Like, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. You know, we were doing everything that they were suggesting, and it was never enough. And I think that it never is enough for the industry. You literally have to die to yourself so that they'll give you something that you think is going to be worth it in the end, and it's not, unfortunately. So I think that I would have probably told myself, hey, what you're doing is good enough, and you end up having a life outside of this that you would have never dreamed of, that is so 1,000 times better than what the ballroom dance industry can offer you. And on top of that, you have freedom.
And if you're not sensing a theme here, from like the music choice to the movie choice to the where she would like to be on vacation, her freedom is extremely important.
It's important
to her.
to me.
Yeah, like
it's very important to me. At the cost of, like, I don't care what you offer me, especially if you offer me something that you're trying to entice me for some reason, and I don't like it.
Yeah, like,
so I run in the other direction.
The saying, give me liberty or give me death, I can totally see you saying that at 5 years old after they refused you coffee.
A little dramatic.
It's like, give me liberty or death.
Give me coffee or give me death. A little dramatic, Chelsea.
Here's a doozy. What scent or smell gives you good feelings?
What?
Yeah, just like think of a scent or a smell
Coffee.
that brings you... that brings you good feelings?
Yeah.
Okay, alter the question. What scent or smell brings you back to...
Did you think I was going to say coffee?
I didn't.
What's wrong with you? It's like you don't know me at all.
Well, I figured that would be a given since you talked so highly of coffee before. So what scent or smell brings you a good memory?
A good memory?
Mm-hmm. Like when you smell it, you're just back in that place.
Like when I smell like a wood burning fire, it takes me back to Austria when we were in Europe when I was little.
Yeah.
Yeah. As soon as I smell it, I'm like, oh, that was back when I was 9.
And that is true, because like literally anytime we're driving or walking or anything like that, and we smell like wood on fire, you always bring up Austria.
Yeah.
So that's like a core memory for you.
Yeah.
So you were already world traveled by the time you were 9 years old.
So famous.
That's kind of wild. Okay. If you could be any animal, what would it be and why?
Well, I have like two answers. No, you know what? I think it would be a dragon.
If you could be a dragon.
If I could be a dragon.
Okay.
Because I can breathe fire and destroy anytime I like and fly away.
So power and freedom, got it. I actually did not expect that answer because
Really?
I wasn't including mythological creatures, so...
Yeah, all of the creatures I was thinking of are mythological. I was like, a Kirara. You can be cute and snuggly in one sense and then grow big and fly away.
Yeah, that's a real thing. Okay, this actually might sound like a repetitive question, but what would be your most cherished memory as a child?
My most cherished
Yeah.
memory?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I have a lot.
Well, you have to pick one.
You can only pick one. I think, gosh, we had so many really cool moments. I think that Mom and Dad would always do movie night on Friday nights.
Mm-hmm.
When we moved out, when we were out on the farm. Friday nights was always, she would make pizza. They would make homemade pizza, and we would get to sit and watch a movie. Now, the reason this is like a big deal, first of all, we did not grow up with much.
Mm-hmm.
But with what we did have, we were grateful for. I think things just meant more, I guess, because of that. We were hard workers because my dad was a hard worker.
Mm.
And we did not watch TV. Like people our age, they'll be like, "Oh, do you remember this TV show or this series or whatever, blah blah blah," and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, we just never watched TV. It's not that we didn't, but when it came to Friday nights, we got to make pizza. It was a fun night, all of us together, all 5 of us, and got to watch a movie.
Okay, let me just add on that because I don't think she's like fully explaining the magic. When they say make their own pizza, they made their own dough, like flour.
Isn't that what that means?
Water. No, some people. Okay, if you make your own pizza, they'll like go out and buy
They
a
threw it into the oven.
They'll like get a frozen pizza or they'll buy a pre-made crust. You guys made the dough.
Mom and Dad did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you guys would like put your ingredients on it and bake it and bam, and you're all watching this amazing movie together with amazing pizza that you made, which I've had this amazing pizza.
And then I think one of the Friday, I don't know if it was a Friday, I need to ask. Mom didn't really remember a whole lot of it, but there was one night where it was December, so it was dark. So it felt like it was super late, but it was probably like 5 o'clock in the evening. But Mom and Dad like called. They're like, "Kids, come here!" And all 3 of us come stumbling down the stairs, and they were like, "You guys gotta get ready to go for like the theater." I can't remember exactly what they said, and we were like, "What?" And they were like, "We're gonna go take you to see Lord of the Rings," and we were like, I didn't know what that meant. Besides the fact that we were going to the theater, which we never did, ever. Andrew was excited. And so I like look at him and I'm like, and he had read The Hobbit to us. Mm-hmm. That would be like a core memory that I would say I really liked too. Is like Andrew would read The Hobbit to us each night, and he would always do the voices. Like his voice for Gollum was legitimately the voice for Gollum. That's like awesome. We went and saw the films, and then he was doing those voices. We were like looking at Andrew like, I mean, you could have played this character. But anyway, he was excited about it, and so Taylor and I were excited about it. Mm-hmm. So that was a cool thing too. It had to do with movies a lot, I think. Yeah. We really liked movies.
Okay, so those are all 16 of my questions. So I'm gonna make sure I put like numbers in the corner, and then I'll probably even put the.
Yeah, don't you worry, it's gonna be real organized.
Well, I think if I put the timestamps in the description, and I actually lay out the questions. Then people can look at the questions and click on that part of the video, and it'll bring them straight to it if they want to hear a specific answer.
Did you do that for yours?
I didn't.
Why?
I don't know, because I wasn't thinking about it. Okay, so these are going to be some bonus questions, and these are actually some of the ones that came in from the Instagram. So this person asks, I would love to know how her journey led her to this point.
That's a big question because because there's a lot that's happened.
Mm-hmm.
Because I grew up homeschooled, middle of nowhere. When I started dancing, people did not believe that it was going to be a thing. Like someone even suggested that I go to college just in case as like a backup plan. And then get into dancing. Had no clue what I was doing, but I knew I wanted to do it. And I think that God kind of just led me, and He knows the desires of my heart, and I want what He wants. So He was the one that was orchestrating a lot of the stuff that was going on. Even us getting together was a huge God thing because you didn't want to dance. Weird, you didn't want to dance with me.
No, I wanted to dance with you. I didn't want to do theater arts, which is
But
hilarious.
your sister wouldn't let you dance rhythm with me.
Right.
So it was like, I was actually surprised that you weren't willing to just do anything.
Yeah.
He's stubborn. It's weird.
Yeah. I wanted to be known for American rhythm.
Anyway, so God had better plans than Brandon did. And so that, like, the whole story about, like, that could be a video in itself. The whole story about how we got together as a professional partnership, crazy. Like, did not plan that at all. And then getting into the ballroom dance industry, well, then you started pushing us to do online stuff, social media stuff, and I didn't want to do that. But we went ahead and did it. I was kind of like not sure. I didn't want to share our stuff because I didn't want people stealing my stuff. I was like, this is mine. And then you kind of helped me work through that. And now it's just like everybody shares everything. Like nothing is owned. Everything's been done before. You don't have ownership over it. So I worked through that. And because he pushed it, and then we were like just enjoying documenting our life, then Instagram blew up. And now we have connections through all kinds of communities outside of the dance world and getting hired by companies to do their products and all of this stuff, like things that I would have never imagined.
Seriously.
So the journey, the question is like, how did I get to this point? I really don't know. By the grace of God, because it was a wild ride. And I think that had we stuck to the typical ballroom dancer, this is what you do, and then you retire, and then you open a studio, and then I didn't want any of that stuff to begin with. Not that it's bad, I just wanted my freedom. I did not see that. I didn't want that. I did not want to be tied down to something like that. I wanted something different. And so with your encouragement and creativity, and then our dancing kind of led us into, I think that God knew that we didn't want what the ballroom dance industry had to offer. And He created a different path that we wouldn't have even been able to dream up. Right. We just kind of like were ebbing and flowing and going where God called us and doing what God called us to do, what we felt in our hearts was right. And that's what brought us to the point where we're at now.
Right. Yeah, staying the course and just trusting His plan. And we'll, like I said earlier in the video, we'll do an entire sit down and chat about how we came together as a partnership, because it's not just like, oh, that's a couple of cool coincidences that came together.
Maybe that could be our live stream. Like we're specifically getting online live to talk about our story, but giving people an option to like ask questions while we go through it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Cool. What do you think?
No, I like the idea.
Because we could go live on YouTube and Instagram. Because our YouTube, we're trying to build it up. Everybody's over on Instagram, so maybe we'll live stream both. That way we can get the questions from InstaFace
and bring them over to YouTube. Yeah. And then this one is another question. How do you get over being upset with your partner?
And that's the end of the video. Great knowing you. It depends on what has happened, because sometimes when we're in the, like, I hate ending rehearsal mad at each other. It is the worst in my opinion, because my happy place is the rehearsal space. I love dancing and I love creating and I like trying new things and everything. So then when we're fighting or we leave that space angrily, it's not good for me. But sometimes you just have to walk away from whatever the situation is and then let it cool off and then come back to it. How do you get over being upset with your partner? I think that it just takes time. Depending on how bad it is. Because we're married and dance partners, and so when something happens, it's not like I can just leave my dance partner and go home and be away from him for a little bit.
Right.
For me personally, when it gets really bad, I just have to, I have to pray about it. I have to take it to God, because I'm disappointed or I'm hurt or whatever it is. And so I'm having to, instead of putting all of the, if he's done something wrong, or if I've done something wrong, but this is in my case, if he's done something wrong that I feel is like unjust and he should have never done that to me, then I have to take it to Christ. I have to take it to God. What God reassures me of is the fact that Brandon isn't God. And if he's human. He's going to upset me. He's going to hurt me, but God will never do that. And so I think that that's like that he's the mediator between the two of us, because if I can just lean everything onto Christ and I can just put everything onto him and go to him for comfort and him for love and him for everlasting promises being made and protection with zero fault. There's like zero, he can do no wrong. Brandon can. So if I just take a minute and I go to Christ and I put all of my burdens and my cares and my worries on him, I'm emotionally able to recover. Whether we're recovering together or not in the moment, I'm able to lean and rely on him. Hopefully that makes sense.
No, it does. And earlier you were saying something about like not liking to end rehearsal on a bad note. A lot of times that, I call it boss fight syndrome. So it's basically like a video game term I came up with, where it's like, you know, you come up to the big baddie at the end of the level, or the boss, and you try and beat him and you fail. You try and beat him and you fail. You get frustrated. And it's like the more frustrated you become, the worse you get at playing the game. So if you were to just set the controller down and walk away for like 5 minutes, half an hour, and then you come back to it.
And sometimes that works.
Yeah, sometimes
I think for the most part that strategy does work, when you're just able to like walk away from the situation for a minute and then come back. But if there's something where it's like it's been going on for a long time and you're tired, that strategy does not work.
No, I'm saying it's saved a lot of our rehearsals when we've just taken a step back and gotten 2 minutes of just breathing and focusing on like not anything, but like, okay, I need to be professional during this rehearsal. I need to be here for the goal, not for winning the argument.
Yeah.
And I think that has saved a lot of rehearsals.
But being upset with your partner and getting over that, you have to like do like, it's hard, and that's why I point to Christ through this situation, because sometimes I have every right to be angry. I have every right to be angry, and I have every right to be mad and hold it over his head for eternity. And I want to. I want to do that. And the reason I say to go to Christ is because that's where you can find your comfort. That's where you can find your reminder that you're not so great yourself. That's where you find where Christ says to forgive one another as your Father in heaven has forgiven you. So it starts to be, you find comfort and peace in him, but it also starts to soften your heart a little bit. And you start to kind of like gnaw on it a little bit and be able to understand that, okay, well, I've been forgiven. I don't deserve to be forgiven, but I am forgiven by Christ. So he died for me and for my problems, for what I've chosen in life because of I'm evil. He loves me that much that he was willing to die for me. So what am I willing to do for this person? Am I willing to go through? Now, we're not God, we're not Christ, so it's going to take time, and it's easier said than done, but if you're truly seeking God's guidance and love, then he'll start to soften you, and you'll start to realize, okay, maybe you just taking a step in the right direction will help. I think that it does. It takes time, but I think that it does help soften you and put your pride aside. It's not easy though.
Good answer. So we have made it to the end of the questions. How do you feel? Any last words of encouragement for them before we sign off?
I would say my last bit of advice, kind of going through memory lane and just kind of like seeing how I was answering everything. I think that my number one thing that I've always held on to since the very beginning was I want to be true to myself. Being honest and upfront and very direct with how I am about things and how I feel about things. I don't wish it to be harmful or hateful to anyone else. I don't wish anyone else harm, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to stand firm on what my beliefs are. I like to be true to myself. I don't like to be fake. I like to take my decisions to God, and I like to be direct with my intention of what I'm doing and not be compromised by what's dangling in front of me. I have to have truth and realness.
So authenticity is super important.
Authenticity, like be true to yourself, I would say, is like one of the biggest things, because I think that we live in a weird world where like people, they adapt to whoever they're in front of, so they're a chameleon. So they just become the other person with that person, and then they change when they go to this person and change to go to that person. And now we're getting to the point where like especially girls, even women are starting to look alike. They look exactly the same, like the same hair color, same eyebrows, same cheekbones that are implanted. So I would say, I think in the long run, you'll never regret just sticking to your goals, sticking to who you are and what you truly believe in, and staying that way and just staying consistent in spite of whatever else is going on around you.
I like your last bit of advice more than mine. Yours was so much cooler. Okay, so I want to thank you, Chelsea, for your knowledge and your wisdom and all of your answers today. They were very fun.
Yeah.
All of your freedom answers.
Was it the same answer over and over again?
In different variations. Yeah. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching all the way to the end of the video. And if you did make it to the very end of the video, then go ahead and put the word onomatopoeia in the comment section, and that way we'll know you made it to the very end. People are going to start realizing that you just say something at the end and then just skipping to the end. Well, that's our crazy word, onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia. How do you spell that? You'll have to Google that. You have homework.